Mermaids, Mermen, and the Boötes constellation. A mermaid or merman has the head and upper body of a human and the lower body up to the waist, thus including what would have been their genitals, of a fish. Sometimes it is only the tail of the fish. Sometimes it looks like they have been almost swallowed by a fish. Both mermaids and mermen, or merfolk, are a worldwide phenomenon, appearing in the folklore of cultures in Europe, Asia and Africa, even far north in the Arctic. Their character is very variable. Mermaids have been accused of causing perilous events, such as floods, storms, shipwrecks, drownings, and even abduction. And in yet other folk traditions, or sometimes within the same tradition, they can be benevolent and beneficent, bestowing boons like saving the lives of shipwrecked sailors, or even falling hopelessly in love with humans. According to Wikipedia, while there is no evidence that mermaids exist outside folklore, reports of mermaid sightings continue to the present day. The existence of sirens has also muddied the waters, but sirens are not mermaids. For one thing, most have legs. Suggestions of what they are. Suggestions for what they represent or are range from hallucinations caused by poor eyesight, illness and madness, the aquatic ape theory, an early version of human beings that has since either died out or gone back underwater, misidentification of existing animals unknown to the viewer. For example, Christopher Columbus, during his exploration of the Caribbean, is said to have misidentified manatees. Divers. The hypothesis that mermaids were actually human women, free divers, for things like sponges and pearls, although the lack of legs is not explained by this theory. Scams. Fake mermaids made in China and the Malay archipelago out of monkey and fish parts, for example, were imported into Europe by Dutch traders in the mid-16th century. Entertainment. Scantily clad women, placed in water tanks and impersonating mermaids, performed at the 1939 New York World's Fair. And aliens, who plunged their spaceships into the sea and sent emissaries out with the intention of civilizing humanity. Boötes. In his time, he says, appeared again from the Erythraean Sea a fourth Anadotus, having the same form with those above, the shape of a fish, blended with that of a man. Then reigned Herodotus from Pantibiblion for the term of 18 Sari. In his days there appeared another personage from the Erythraean Sea, like the former, having the same complicated form between a fish and a man. And indeed some of these suggestions may well be right. The alien idea has gained a great deal of support recently, but all of these suggestions exclude the one that may explain the majority of the sightings, and this is that the mermaid is symbolic and very important. The significance of water. Water is spirit. Thus any connection with water implies the person concerned is spiritually gifted. A shaman or shamaness a high priestess, or a similarly gifted wise woman or wise man. The significance of the fish. The fish is shown as the bottom half of the person and completely obscures any genitals. The implication is that through their calling, these people abstain from any form of sex. The fish is also itself a symbol, and we have a video on the symbolism of fish. Symbolic fish are the source of all ideas, inspiration and wisdom. The fish does not speak, but the person does. As such, the symbolism indicates that this person, through their direct connection with water, spirit, is permanently connected to spirit. Indeed, they would be classified as the most advanced and talented of any of the seers, prophets, teachers, messiahs, and similar. The symbolism of the hair. Most mermaids and mermen are described as having long hair. Long hair symbolically denotes high levels of spiritual connectivity. See our video on the symbolism of hair. Often the hair is red or gold, both of which are symbolic colours, also indicating high levels of spirit connectivity. See our videos on the symbolism of colours. In essence, the symbolism points to a person with very advanced spiritual connection. The mirror and the comb. Mermaids symbolically carry a mirror and a comb. See our video, the symbolism of the mirror. The mirror is a very complex and advanced symbol, and we have grouped the video for this symbol in the playlist on the quantum sandwich, within the section on metaphysics and the cosmology of heaven. As such, the symbolism points to the idea that this person is a seer of considerable talent, far in advance of the vast majority of people. Combs are a symbol of enlightenment. So what is a mermaid or merman? So, using just the symbolism to point us to who a mermaid or merman is, we find possibly the most talented and enlightened people, who are permanently in touch with the spiritual world, able to provide advanced wisdom, inspiration and help for humanity. Wise, sometimes benign, sometimes not, like the tarot fool, but with an understanding of metaphysical concepts far in advance of the average human. A god or goddess, a seer, a prophetess, a high priestess, wise, mostly female it would seem, who has dedicated their life to helping mankind. By choosing not to reproduce, in fact, may even be unable to reproduce. But a person who can still fall hopelessly in love with a human, loving them despite the fact they display a whole wealth of human frailties. Indeed, they may even give up their spirit life to be with the human they love. And this may be why mermaids have been a popular subject of art and literature in recent centuries, such as in Hans Christian Andersen's literary fairy tale The Little Mermaid, 1836, and why they have subsequently been depicted in operas, paintings, books, comics, animation, and live-action films. Because despite the fact they are really not of this earth, they still love humanity and still want to help it, despite its failings. And some of them may indeed be not of this earth, aliens. Some examples of mermaids and mermen. We now need to take a look at just a few examples of mermaids and mermen to give us a grasp of the groundbreaking effects they had on humanity. People who, by their sacrifices and connection to spirit, enabled the world to move on, providing wisdom and skills, support and love. Some of whom may even have been aliens. Matsya. The Hindu goddess Matsya appears to have played a key role in ensuring the Vedas were preserved. In the legend, Vishnu incarnates as Matsya, enters the waters and kills Hayagriva, a spirit being who is hiding the texts. Matsya then brings back the sacred texts. Apkallu and Boötes. Apkallu are 7 demigods, described as part man and part fish, associated with human wisdom. These beings are often referred to as the 7 sages. Boötes wrote of Boötes, he gave the people an insight into letters and sciences and arts of every kind. He taught them to construct cities, to found temples, to compile laws and explained geometry. He made them distinguish the seeds of the earth and showed them how to collect fruit. In short, he instructed them in everything which could soften manners and humanize their lives. Atargatis. In Phoenicia, Syria, there was a mermaid goddess called Atargatis, or Dea Syria, and known as Dosito to Greek writers, with her cult centered at Ashkelon. Her skills were divination and astrology, and she is associated with the Hanging Gardens of Babylonia. Her status as a mermaid is confirmed by images of her in parts of Phoenicia, but her grand statue was entirely human at her holy city, Hierapolis, Bambyce. Kululu, or Dagon. Dagon, the Hebrew, and Dagon, Dak, means fish, was a god worshipped in ancient Syria, across the middle of the Euphrates, in Mesopotamia, and was the national god of the Philistines. He was regarded as the father of gods, which would indeed make him symbolically a fish god. His cult is attested as early as about 2500 BC. The Phoenician writer Sanchuniathon said, and Dagon, after he discovered grain and the plough, was called Zeus Arotrios. The word Arotrios means both ploughman and pertaining to agriculture. And this brings us neatly on to the constellation of Boötes. The constellation of Boötes. Boötes is a constellation in the northern sky. The name comes from the Greek for a ploughman. One of the 48 constellations described by the 2nd century astronomer Ptolemy, Boötes is now one of the 88 modern constellations. In ancient Babylon, the stars of Boötes were known as Shu, Pa, and were said to depict the god Enlil. So Dagon was equated with Enlil. Dagon, or Enlil, was looked on as the father of the gods and the leader of the Babylonian pantheon because he brought grain, and he brought the plough to hunter-gatherer communities. It may be difficult for us to imagine now how major this change was. Cereal grain crops are now grown in greater quantities and provide more food energy worldwide than any other type of crop. Agriculture allowed for the support of an increased population, leading to larger societies and eventually the development of cities. It provided the impetus for specialization in jobs, greater organization of political power, and in the creation of laws. Agriculture allowed people to live and work in one place and settle down for long periods of time, meaning people could make more things as they had the time and market for the goods to do so. And from this simple advance comes writing, literature, music, a flowering of the arts, and engineering. Everything we call civilization sprang from this single advance. There is evidence of the cultivation of cereals in Syria approximately 9,000 years ago. Wheat, barley, rye, oats and flax seeds were all domesticated in the Fertile Crescent during the early Neolithic. The use of soil improvement using manure, fish, compost and ashes appears to have begun early and developed independently in several areas of the world, including Mesopotamia, the Nile Valley, and Eastern Asia. Cereals were the foundation of human civilization. And this is why Dagon, who is Enlil, has a constellation called Boötes, dedicated to him, because he was one of the most important mermen to have graced this planet. It might be added that Boötes is also known to Native American cultures. In Yupik language, Boötes is Taluyak, literally the fish trap.